Just got home, and I must say, I've got a lot to talk about. Bear with me a sec, I also need a rag here. Need to clean up some of this shit. I've been slacking a little bit, you see, so I need to make up for it. But, of course, you can come here to find out whether or not I have been cleaning my house. But I'll wait another, probably say another 75 seconds. We'll start at the 2-minute mark, see if we can get some people in here before I open up about what I have to say, quite frankly. But there is quite a lot to talk about, because I want to go over not only the rally on the 27th, but I also want to discuss, of course, everything about what happened to Donald Trump. And, of course, the mainstream media, as the title should say. Because I think what's happened as far as all of this is concerned is not only egregious in what the mainstream media have done, but also what this could potentially spell for the 27th of July. So I'll give it another half a minute and then we'll get this party started. As said, there's a lot to talk about. Fair bit of it will be speculation, but there will also be stuff that I need to talk about which is important, because I think we need to all be on our guard. And as I said before, I have to be on the top of my game. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's do this. So, as far as Trump is concerned, let's start off with him most importantly, since he has the potential now to get into the White House pretty much with a landslide. After all, Ronald Reagan, when there was the assassination attempt on him, got a 22-point boost on the back of the assassination attempt. So what do you think it's going to do to Donald Trump? It's probably, well, people are already expecting it to be a bloody landslide because a lot of people like the guy. So it does stand to reason why I have said in the past that Hillary Clinton may as well have come out and handed him the bloody keys to the house, quite frankly. But I can gloss over Donald Trump as much as I want. What I really want to talk about is the mainstream media narrative, because as we all know, these NPC activists in the media, I don't consider them journalists, because if they were journalists, they'd be doing their job impartially, without bias, and without maliciousness. Because that's what it boils down to, as far as this attack on Trump is concerned. A lot of the narrative against Donald Trump has been drummed up by the mainstream media. It has been trumped up, no pun intended, by the media to get people pissed off at Donald Trump and basically want to attack him. It's not going to happen on my watch. Well, no. Generally, I hope nothing is going to happen to Donald Trump, but I hope you're doing well, Matt Key. I hope nothing happens to Donald Trump. I mean, at the moment, the only thing he's got is obviously blood on his ear. But it was literally a half second, if that, of leniency that Donald Trump had. Because all it came down to, and what I really wanted to post the video about, but every time I tried to do the video as I'm walking from work to home or up to work from where I live, I basically felt like I was missing something, or there was something just not right about it. But I'm going to say it here, in that it was literally down to the one thing that saved Donald Trump is literally as simple as this. That's it. Literally the fact he just so happened to turn his head at the very, very last moment. And if it weren't for that, Trump would not be raising his fists in the air in defiance. He'd be with his hands like this in a coffin right now. That's all it boils down to. That and the fact that the NPC that tried to shoot him was already a shit shot and even got kicked out of the shooters team because he was a shit shot. And God did save him indeed. But I digress. The media kept on saying Trump is a fascist, Trump is a racist, Trump is a bigot, orange man bad, and all the usual tripe that you can expect to see from the mainstream media. It is the fact that they kept on larping on about this shit that people got brainwashed into having this narrative against Donald Trump. Donald Trump has made mistakes. Let's be clear on that. Trump is not the full basket, as it were. But it would be a very wide stretch to say that he is a Nazi, a racist, or as bad as the mainstream would have you know about, basically. But they always say we need to be worried about the far right in the media. And yet, who are the ones who are always resorting to violence? It's the ones on the left. The NPCs and the shills and the brain-damaged goods on the left who are inciting this violence. Marine Le Pen is also another prime example of this, where she won the first round of her voting in France. Who were the ones who instigated violence? The Islamists and the left wing. They were the ones who drummed it up. It's not the so-called far right, as they keep saying, it's the left. But we're supposed to be like, oh guys, we should show kindness and support to Donald Trump and Joe Biden and all that, because they clearly got it wrong. No, I'm not going to have that fucking narrative, because I can see what the left did for what it truly is. Remember, there are people who have literally called for Donald Trump to be murdered. There are people in the mainstream, well, there's the president himself even said, we need to put Donald Trump in the crosshairs, basically. And he had to come out today and admit that that was a mistake. A mistake. You call putting someone in the crosshairs a mistake. And this is my message directly to Joe Biden right now. That is not a mistake. That is you calling for your rival to be killed. That is calling for your political opponent to be assassinated. And I am not going to take anybody else's bullshit on this. Red card for lefties. My sentiments exactly. That is a massive red flag. And if Joe Biden ever well, to be fair, he's probably not going to now because of the fact that their assassination attempt failed. Oh, but one other thing. There's something even spicier. I don't suppose anybody's going to know about one Dr. Karen Pinder. Well, I ended up finding out no less than 15 to 20 minutes ago at most that she's now being investigated for a tweet that she sent out on X, which basically said better luck next time, as in she was going to celebrate Trump's death, and is basically celebrating the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Yeah. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. Do you even think they will mention this? And you're more than welcome, Gary. Do you think they will ever mention this in the mainstream media? Of course they won't. Because they would realise how damning that would be for the left wing and their mainstream globalist / Marxist agenda. The left called for violence against Donald Trump. And it's only now, after the assassination attempt has occurred, are they like, no, you know what, guys, we really should cool it down. We shouldn't be like this. Please, everyone remain calm. Let's be kind to one another. Fuck off. You are such traitorous snakes. For, on the one hand, you're basically two-faced. Think face off. You go out your way to incite violence against the former Prime Minister, who's now about to be, President, who's now about to be a president now at this point, because he's practically been handed the keys. You say you want him assassinated, and then after the said fact and that it fails, you very quickly go into damage control. The mainstream media have always had this fucking narrative of let's wish violence upon the far right and those who do not conform to the left-wing agenda. But the moment it actually happens and someone really does go off the deep end and go after them, then they're like, oh, this is reprehensible. We should be kind to one another, as if to cover their own fucking tracks. You know, that really pisses me off, bluntly speaking, because they have no right to cry crocodile tears, quite frankly. They have no fucking right to do that, considering they are the ones who incited this shit. They are directly responsible for the attack that happened in Butler, Pennsylvania on Donald Trump, that nearly cost that man his life, that literally the only difference between him being alive and dead is half a second, if that. It brings my blood to a boil when I see these bastards in the mainstream media fake sympathy and kindness and caring stuff. They don't give a shit. They wanted Trump dead. Why else did you think they pumped out the narrative that Orange Man bad and that we should go off and kill him? I want that to settle in for a second while I take another drink. At the end of the day, the media called for this, and everyone should be as disgusted as I am right now. And yes, I accept that there is some responsibility that needs to be held for the Secret Service as well, because there are a lot of DEI hires as well. There are a lot of DEI hires in the Secret Service, and some of the Secret Service fundamentally failed for not noticing a roof that was blatantly a clear line of sight to Donald Trump and failing to take action. But then there are also reports that from citizens who were up there at the time who could even see the sniper going up on the roof, and yet nobody did anything. Begs the question, was it an inside job? Or was it the police and the Secret Service just brain dead and they lost their ability to rationalize and use that rare thing called common sense? Does beg the question, doesn't it? But the bottom line, as far as this Trump and media story is concerned, is that the media are completely 100% responsible for an NPC trying to kill Trump. That's what it boils down to. They drummed up the narrative. This NPC got brainwashed and got a rifle and had all the experience he needed potentially to take Trump out. And I know I probably shouldn't be giving this motherfucker credit, but in his defense, he was actually on target. He just didn't expect Trump to turn his head. That's the only thing, as I've said, and I can't stress this enough. That head turn is literally the only thing that stopped Trump from being assassinated. But it scares me to think that, ironically, after all his career of being a shit shot for the rifle team he tried to join, it was that one time he was good, but he was bad in his aim. Of course, let me be absolutely clear on this. I am not congratulating the guy in any way, shape, or form. I fucking despise the guy for even attempting it. But that's the bottom line. If it weren't for the fact that clearly the man upstairs had some input in this, Trump would be dead. And the media must be held accountable for drumming up this hate-filled narrative towards Donald Trump. Now, I think I've spoken enough about that. So now I'll move on to what may be for some people the more important topic, which is the Tommy Robinson rally coming up on the 27th of July. So obviously, The Queen's swearing language. Very good. Anyway, the Tommy Robinson rally on the 27th. On the back of what's just happened a few days ago with the attempted assassination of Trump, I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried. It won't stop me going, but I am very, very worried about what may happen now. Because I'm not going to lie, it does scare the shit out of me that this happens 2 weeks before we're due to go to that rally. I think it would be a stretch to say that the media or anybody else planned this, or what the lefty NPCs are saying, it was all staged, which is a complete crock of shit. But what I will say is it seems awfully convenient that this happens 2 weeks before the rally is due to take place. And what my worry is more than anything, as much as we've seen Donald Trump go through that shit, I'm worried that there's going to be some equally deluded, in denial nutjob in the UK who might try the same shit in this rally. That's my concern right now. Because after all, our media here in the UK is not really that much different from the one over the pond over to the US. They're crooked, they're corrupt, they investigate themselves and let them off the hook for things. They are willing to do libelous, slanderous statements against people that are completely false and untrue. They're willing to drum up a narrative, even though, again, it's not true, and again is libelous in most cases. So understandably, I am worried that some of that brainwashing that the shills in the British Broadcasting Corporation, or maybe I was right first time, Channel 4, Sky News, and of course all the other mainstream outlets, I suspect that some of that is going to be too ingrained into people's heads. And some people, there may be a nutter already planning their move as far as the 27th of July is concerned. I am very worried about that. As I said, is it going to stop me going up there? No. I don't think it's also going to stop my friend who wants to come along with me. And I'm not talking about the guy who took me to Birmingham. Having another stroke, guys. Sorry. Anyway, I'm talking about another guy who's a really good friend of mine, very close friends for, I'd probably say at least the last 4 years, who has helped me through thick and thin, also wants to attend this. I'm not going to say his name, obviously, but I will say that I may have extra company with me. So I'm hoping that we're all going to be fine up there. But I have got to have that element of worry, because fear is good in some cases. It keeps you on your toes. If you get complacent, you never know when that next knife in the back is going to come. That's the way I look at it. So it is okay to have a little bit of fear. Just don't let it overtake you as far as your determination to go to that rally on the 27th of July. But keep on your bloody guard is my main message as far as that event is concerned, quite frankly, because, as I said, if this shit can happen in the US to the president, there is absolutely no reason why it can't happen on the 27th of July. We have to be tentative, we have to be ever vigilant, and we have to be determined to smash out any sign of an attack on our people. Because that's what they're going to go for now. I am very certain of this now. Because after all, look at it. We are the people. Yeah, we are. Just look at it. The way I slice it, what has the police always done in almost every other rally we've been to? They've tried to agitate the crowd. They've tried to kettle us. They've tried to attack us. to get a reaction for the cameras so they can go out with the hit pieces of far-right racist football hooligan thugs blah 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 attack the police. And I don't think I need to say we must not do that. No matter how hard they may push, don't give them a fucking inch. But I'm worried that these people, if they can't get us to do anything, they're going to create something to do it. And I'm worried they may even send someone undercover to attack people. I'm worried about that. It's speculation, let me be clear. I don't know it's going to happen for sure, but what I do know is that there needs to be a level of concern that we need to have when we go to that rally. Because if they can attack Trump, they can attack Tommy Robinson, they can attack Nigel Farage, they can attack Paul Thorpe, they can attack Martuzzi, just to name a few. Obviously, I don't think Nigel Farage is going to come up because I think he's still trying to, how do I put it? He's being a bit gingerly, I think, more than anything. I think he will contact Tommy Robinson in the future, but I don't think he's going to do it right now because I think it's a little too early. Obviously, if he does, it'd be nice because he would drum up a shitload of support. But at the end of the day, I think Nigel knows that something significant is going to happen. And I have my sneaky suspicions that something is going to happen on the 27th of July. I want to be so fucking wrong. I have never wanted to be so wrong in all my life. But as I said, and I will say again, I have to be at the top of my game. I have to have that element of worry that will keep me on my toes, keep my eyes open, and I'm not just talking about these fucking things, and that will help people understand that we need to be careful. Because I think they're going to pull out all the stops with this one. And I'm not talking about Tommy Robinson. Obviously, Tommy Robinson's going to do what he does anyway. He's going to take the fight to the establishment and the traitors. He's always going to give 100%. That's not in any doubt. But I am worried that the media, the police, the government will all work in cahoots together and do everything they physically can. If they can't agitate the crowd, they'll create a scene. Or they will allow a jihadi or a far-left extremist or some other nutjob to infiltrate the crowd and cause all hell to break loose. I think what these people need to understand, though, is if they kill Tommy Robinson or any of these other important people, they will create martyrs. And they will effectively have lost the battle before it even begins. It will prove beyond and to the inclusion of every reasonable doubt that the establishment are crooked and corrupt. And even the NPCs, the sheeple who walk in this country, will have to open their eyes and see that. The only people who would possibly be able to keep their eyes firmly closed and see, hear, and speak no evil, hello Ted, are the ones who literally cannot, for the life of themselves, think for themselves. That's the way I look at it. I think if they assassinate Tommy Robinson, it may actually give them exactly what they want. And I hate giving them fucking ideas. It makes me sick to think I might be potentially helping the enemy. But I think if they did assassinate Tommy Robinson, I think they really would get a violent revolution. I really do. I think if they did that, I think a violent revolution would take place. Because people will get so angry and irate at the idea that they could go after someone for being a patriot, exposing the Muslim rape gangs, and exposing the corruption in our government, that they will have to fucking wake up to this. And let me be absolutely clear, as I've always done, I do not advocate for violent revolution. I do not advocate for violence. I do not advocate for unlawfulness. But if it does happen, I will completely understand why the people would go to that conclusion. And as I've said before as well, there's a big difference to understanding and sympathizing. I do not sympathize with violence and I will condemn it, but I will understand why they go to that. I am worried about this march. I am worried for very, very good reason. Because, as I said, I think they're going to stop at nothing this time. I think they are literally going to pull out all the stops with this one. And I think that if we've seen an attack on Trump, I think we may end up seeing one on the 27th of July. And I cannot emphasize enough how fucking wrong I want to be on that. But you know that feeling when you have like a gut instinct that you think something's going to happen and then it ends up happening? That's what I feel like I've got right now. I feel like I've got that instinct kicking in that's telling me something's going to happen. Something massive. And it scares me just thinking about it. It really fucking does. But I cannot see any other way that the establishment is going to do anything different. I cannot see any other way they're going to try to do this other than they're going to try and take Tommy out. And it's not unfounded, my beliefs. Bear in mind, there was a story put out by Alex Belfield, and I know he's not exactly a great guy, but bear this in mind. Even a broken clock can be right twice a day. And Alex Belfield did put out an article or a video showcasing a BBC article or Daily Mail article that basically the BBC went out and hired 2 hitmen for about 57, maybe 55 grand, give or take a couple, to kill a drug dealer in front of his kids. The BBC hired 2 hitmen to do that shit. So if they're willing to do that, it would seem silly to give them the benefit of the doubt that they might not do the same to Tommy. Something like that could very easily happen. This is why I say we must remain ever vigilant at this point. Paul Thorpe, Maya Toosey, think of others, Paul Thorpe, Maya Toosey, Richard Inman, Danny Tomo, obviously Tommy Robinson, he has to be at the top of that fucking list. I think you guys need to be extremely careful with this. And I'm not saying that because I want to discourage you from doing the event. Far from it. I want you to do it. But the trouble is, you must remain on your guard. You must be, like I'm trying to be, at the top of your game. Because I swear to God, they will come for us with full force and full fury. And I don't want this to fall on deaf ears. If they do attack us, I want us to be in a position where we can nip it straight in the bud. I want it so that nobody ends up losing their lives or getting seriously injured or get life-threatening injuries on the back of this. We must make sure that place is fully protected, that we are fully prepared to intercept and deal with any scumbags that come to that rally. Because I dread to think the idea that one of the big ups, listen, maybe Danny Tomo, maybe Richard Inman, Mayor Maya Toosey, maybe Paul Thorpe, could end up getting attacked and assassinated like they attempted to assassinate Donald Trump. That's my worry right now. But I will also say this on one final note. Every single mainstream media outlet will be under immeasurable pressure from us, the citizen journalists. We will be there to put them on full blast. We will be there to hold them to account if they even dare to libel and slander our names or their names. If they are going to try and lie through their teeth, we must name and shame every single media outlet and media reporter individually to make sure they are held accountable for what they say. Back in the days, people could be held to account for what they said because it could be seen again as libelous and slanderous. We must put them on full fucking blast, and if they dare to lie about us, we need to take out the trash. We need to make sure these people are exposed to the world for the shills and NPCs that they really are. We will not tolerate lies at this event. They will either speak the truth or shut the fuck up. Because I'll tell you one thing, if there aren't any other people who are willing to do it, I will fucking put them on full blast myself. Because I'm not prepared to have people continue to libel and slander against us. So, wherever you are in the country, 27th of July, make your plans to get to this rally. Scotsmen, Yorkies, Brummies, Manchesters, everyone, get down there. We need to put them and the traitors in the houses of treachery, I mean Parliament, or maybe I was right first time again, we need to put them on the spotlight and make them pay for their treachery. Every single one of them. Thank you all guys ever so much for watching this stream. Has been a pleasure as always. Remember, stay safe, do not advocate for violence, do not engage in any violence, but remain vigilant. Because we must make sure each and every one of us patriots that's down there is safe. Not just Tommy, not just Martusi, or all the other big content creators. Every single one of us must be safe. We all have a civic duty to perform, to protect one another as fellow Englishmen and women. Because we don't want our children to have to fight this war. We do not want the lives of those people who gave their lives in 2 world wars to have done that sacrifice in vain. Thank you for watching. I wish you all good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye for now.